For my entire life, I've been on a farm with different cows. My grandfather and father were the ones that got into the cattle business, and of course, I got roped into it when I was younger. And many people ask themselves what it's like to take care of cows or how much fun it would be, but the truth is that the cows can be fun, but they're really just a lot to handle. And it takes a lot of different time, and you just need to make sure that all of your fence is right so they can't get out, and that all the calves and the babies are together, and that each one is accounted for, and that you can make sure that you have all the cows written down so you know how many that you have, so you don't end up missing one. And you need to take the time to write out and check every day or so to make sure that one of them didn't get lost or one of them didn't get out of the fence or something. You need to make sure that for the same thing for the calves as well. You also need to know what the cows need in order to survive, knowing what feed and what medicine they need to take yearly or how much feed they need to be getting, and knowing what the calves need to survive as well, and recording down all the information in a book or a notebook, and writing down however many cows that you have and versus what they need is also a good thing, so you know how old your cows are when you got them versus how new they are. The different hay and feeds that they need can get pretty expensive at times. The hay that you need depends on what fertilizers in the ground that's making the grass grow. Some fertilizers make it grow thick, and some make it to where the protein in the grass is higher, in which you need a good mixture of both to where the grass is thick enough to make enough bales, but it's also got enough protein in them as well. It also depends on what the pricing is for the hay. Sometimes hay can be really expensive and sometimes it can't due to the demand for it. It depends on how much gas the people need to get around and how much they'll need for a baler, and what your hayman's gonna need and how much time he's gonna have to use on his hands too, and it can get expensive for that. And the different feed bags that you have, we go to a livestock place around our town, and it sells these big bags of feed that we use. In the white bags that we have, we generally get one filled pretty full and one halfway full, and you want to make sure that this feed is stored in a place so where it can't get rained on and different things, where it can't get weathered. And sometimes some other animals like mice and other vermin can get into the bags by tearing holes into them, but there's not much you can do about that. The main thing you can do is cover the top of the bag so the rain and other things can't get in from the top. And all the stuff that you need from the bottom will be the medicine. The medicines that you need is mostly one of the most important, because you need to make sure that your cows are good and wormed, which worming is making sure that all the parasites and all the bugs that are in their system feeding on their nutrients are out. So if you see one of your cows that's real skinny and you can start to see their bones, that's how you know they're really wormy. So you get the worm medicine and you put it on them, and that gets rid of those worms. But you need to change out your different medicines pretty yearly or so, and because that reason is because the worms and the other parasites can get used to and immune to that medicine after a while. So you need to make sure you switch it up to different types of medicines that make sure that it's all not the same to where they can't just get immune to it after a while. And these are the shots that you have to give your cows to make sure they don't get sick. When a cow gets sick, there's not much you can do besides give it medicine, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's due to the cow. But one year we've had a bad stage of pneumonia in our cattle, and we had about 10 to 12 cows die over the course of 2 days. And after they get sick, it just spreads. So there's not much you can do besides just give them medicine and hope for the best. And this is a place where we also get our feed from. All the feed that we get comes from this place because they have a degree in making sure that the cows and the different nutrients in the protein and the feed is good, so we know we can trust them because they're certified in what they do. And the baby cattle, the baby calves that we have are also, they tend to be very cute when they're younger, but they're also very stubborn. And the mama cows tend to be very overprotective of their young, their calves. So you don't want to be put together with a mama cow in the middle of a field with her baby, because it wouldn't end too well for you. and especially in the dark times when they don't know what's going on. Sometimes the mama cows can tell, if you're good there to harm them or not, because sometimes they can recognize you because they know if you feed them or not, but at night it's hard for them to tell, so you need to watch out for that because they're very overprotective. And the main thing we use our cows and calves for is at the sale barn. At the sale barn we take our calves, which is mainly made up of our male calves, and the male calves go to the sale barn and we sell them, and we don't keep them, and the reason is because we don't want a lot of bulls on our property. We usually just use around 2 to 3 adult grown bulls to do our breeding, but sometimes we need to change out those bulls as well because the bulls tend to go through the same cows and calves that they've already made or they already gave birth to, so you need to change them out so they don't give or have a breeding process with the same calves that they've had birth to. And we generally usually keep the female calves because they can restart the cycle and they end up going through the same process over again. And we take the male calves to the sale barn because they bring forth some money for us, and the money just goes back in towards the process of buying food and medicines and other different types of needs for the cattle. So if you're wondering or thinking about getting some cattle or wondering about getting them just to have something to do, and just because they're cute, that wouldn't be the case, because you need to take into consideration the time and the money and the expenses and all the knowledge you need to know in order to take care of these calves and cows.